I am currently in a dimly lit hotel room in Wisconsin, and yes, it's flannel season. Over the past week, I've been in Boston, Chicago, Des Moines, and Minneapolis, and I figured while I had the free time, I would make this video. While I was in Boston, I stayed in a hotel room that was nicer than my apartment. The hotel here, on the other hand, is a little bit of a different story. Check out this view. Also, yesterday I went down to the front desk to try and get a Do Not Disturb sign because the room didn't come with one. I wanted it because I wanted to do some studying without being disturbed. They said they didn't have any at the front desk either, but that they'd have housekeeping bring me one. So I went back to my room to study and was interrupted by the housekeeper to give me the Do Not Disturb sign that I intended to help me not be disturbed while I was studying. And then, in a further development, later on, the sign was stolen from my door, presumably by someone else on this floor who also didn't want to be disturbed, which I found highly disturbing. Which is why I made a new one. In other words, it's going well. But enough about me. Let's get to the questions that you asked about me. What is your favorite video that you've made? Oh, come on, that's like asking me to choose between my 57 children. Is that how many videos I have? I don't know. I would also lose track of how many children I have. 3 of my favorites are A Transition, Just Another Canyon, The Lost Empire of Yam, and ARTexplains Substitute. All for different reasons. I like your videos, but your beard kind of creeps me out, lol. That's okay, just cover the lower half of your screen and I'll entertain you with my eyebrows. Out of curiosity, Art, could you explain how a cleric riding a griffin can become a pizza after being swatted by a 300-foot-tall animate tree? No. What's your education and work background? I have my Bachelor's of Science in Psychology, and I'm going for my PhD in Cognitive Psychology, which is also what my work is. Although previously I've worked retail, childcare, in the printing industry, all kinds of places. One time I was working in a t-shirt printing factory, and my shirt got ripped off by the machine that I was using, so I just put on one of the defect shirts and went on my way, so it all worked out. You do realize you got a rat on you. Yes, that was Doctor. She was my very first pet, actually. She passed away recently, which is very sad. But she was mostly blind, so whenever you'd try and pick her up, she'd think that an eagle was attacking her, and she'd kind of go into a defensive stance, but once you held her for a while, she got all friendly and cuddly, so... Lol, I find it funny how your whole head moves when you talk. Someday I will sell a line of ARTexplains bobbleheads, so look forward to that product. What software do you use to animate? I mostly use Cyberlink Power Director, but I've also been using the Adobe Creative Suite lately. I'll probably try to move more to the latter because the version of Power Director that I have is extremely old, and honestly, it's not the highest end software, but it's worked good for my purposes so far. If you watch the video that I made over on the Step Back History channel on organ transplantation, that was animated using Cyberlink Power Director. Have you ever been told you look like Chris Pratt? Well, not so much Chris Pratt. Most people refer to me as Seth Rogen once my hair gets a little bit longer. One time I went to a haircut place in Iowa, and there was a drunk guy there waiting to get his haircut, and when I walked in, he said, "Oh, great, Seth Rogen's here. Now do I have to wait to get my haircut because a celebrity's walked in?" And I'm pretty sure he was serious, but he was drunk, so it was difficult to get a grasp on the situation. Who's the girl? That's my almost wife, Elizabeth. I think she's been in like 6 videos so far. I'm not entirely sure, but hopefully she'll agree to be more in the future because it's always more fun when she's around. Where do you come up with your ideas for your videos? I read a lot of really weird stuff. For example, last night, while we were chilling in the hotel room, Elizabeth was reading an article about types of pancreatic cancer, I believe, and I was reading about the mortality rates of colonectomies in the 1920s, neither of which have anything to do with our PhDs that we're pursuing, by the way. It was just interesting stuff that we were looking at. So, yeah, that's kind of how I get into these ideas, but otherwise I come up with the actual fleshed out where I want to go with the ideas, mostly in the shower, at which point I usually start laughing and almost drown. I think that you deserve more subs. You do very good quality content and have a very personable attitude. That's not a question, but thank you. I agree. You should share some of my videos with your friends in order to get my name out there a little bit more, or support me on Patreon. Those are 2 ways that you can help my channel grow.